You're listening to Camo and Crayons, the podcast that talks about military life, family life, and everything in between.
Welcome to Camo and Crayons. This is our first episode of our podcast that we are bringing to you as military parents, as active duty, and as veterans. My name is Laurie, and I am so excited that you are going to be here joining us.
Hi, my name is Sherry, and I'm an Army mom going on 2 years.
Hi, I'm Annika. I'm a Marine Corps veteran and also an active duty Marine Corps spouse. I'm just happy to be here along for the ride to bring what we can to y'all.
So I am a Marine mom. My son joined the Marine Corps almost 4 years ago. He went to boot camp at Parris Island, and I was completely lost. He is my last child. My daughters are older than him, 9 and 8 years older than him. They were already off to college. They were getting their masters and in their careers. And then our son decided that he wanted to join the military. We kind of always knew that, but I honestly was hoping he was going to go play baseball. I'm not going to lie. You know, he loves sports. He was always active. We spent all our weekends at the baseball field, but there was always that little thing inside of him. We have a cousin named Skip. We call him Skip. He is a Navy captain, and he's been obsessed with Skip since he was a little boy. And in the back of my mind, I always knew it was going to happen. And I can't tell you how proud I am to be his mom. But I struggled, and I want to share those struggles with you and how I was able to overcome those struggles, how I was able to learn everything about the military that I've learned so far and everything I learned about the Marine Corps because it wasn't available to me when my son joined. And that's my passion, is sharing with other parents and letting them know that they don't have to crawl up on the couch like I did and cover themselves up and think my whole world is over because I'm an empty nester now and my kids have grown up and moved out. Now it's my turn to be Laurie and to be the woman that I've always meant to be. And I'm going to take you along on that journey. So welcome to our podcast.
Hi, I'm Sherry, and we have always known that Piper was going to be in the military. We just didn't know what branch. It was a struggle at the beginning because he didn't do some things correctly, like get off his medication the correct way. And so we didn't know if he was ever going to be in the military. And then finally we got the word and a great recruiter that helped us. And he went in, and it was a whirlwind. I mean, one day he's at the recruiter's office, the next day he's at a MEPS, and the following week he was gone to the military. And so we have always known that he was going to go. One thing about the Army is they don't walk you through anything. They get you in, they have you sign papers, and then it's like pretty much you're not involved anymore. And so I went through a lot of things blind, and I don't want other parents to go through things blind. I want to help them go smooth through this process because it was kind of a rough start for us. And now that we're going on 2 years in, I've learned a lot of things, and I want to pass my knowledge on to them.
Hi, I am Annika. I am a Marine Corps veteran. I was just medically discharged about this time last year in 2025. I found Laurie, less than 7 months ago, and it's been nothing but a dream since. I spent about 10 years within the Marine Corps. I got out as a staff sergeant. I am a mom. I am a wife to a warrant officer within the Marine Corps. And one of the main things that's kept me within the group, not just the lovely ladies that I get to spend time with every day, but is just the knowledge that I can share with individuals. Because one of my main jobs right before I got out was family and unit readiness. So anything to do with any type of question, I needed to have an answer for. And I loved it. Every bit and piece of it. I loved being able to provide the knowledge that I had of the Marine Corps. only these two ladies know I'm a Marine Corps nerd. I will sit here, I'm out, and I will sit here and just read publications. I will read Army publications. I'll read Navy publications. I'll read it all just because I want to be able to provide answers to those who need it. Even being out, I still have Marines and sailors texting me, Sash Outline, do you know this? Oh, do you know this? And if I don't know it, I'm going to find it. And that's been the beauty of this group, and being able to be part of it, is just sharing everything that I've learned throughout my journey. Because if you would have asked anybody when I was a kid, the Marine Corps was not in my future. Much like Laurie's son, I played soccer from the time I was 3. There were colleges I was going to go to. We had the whole thing set up, and I was like, heck no, I'm going to join the Marine Corps. Completely threw all of my parents for a loop with that one. So I am just happy to be here, provide answers, and just have a good time and be able to help you guys all through things that my parents didn't have help with. Because the amount of questions my parents asked me, I can imagine how many parents have questions just as similar. So I'm just happy to be here to be able to help and tell you guys that your kids are going to have a great time and they're going to be okay. We don't need to crawl up on the couch. We don't need to go crazy. I promise you, they're going to enjoy their career just as much as I did, no matter what they face.
So on these episodes, when you join us and you hit the subscribe button, we're going to talk about real life issues. We're not going to candy coat things and say pew pew. We're going to use the word gun, and we're going to use the word suicide, and we're going to use the word healing, and we're going to use crying, and we're going to laugh, and we're going to grow together. We want to take real serious issues and talk about them and not downplay them like we can or like we have to on TikTok. While we love that platform, we want to move over here where we can talk about really serious things, right? For example, parents are very sad, and a lot of them do resort to laying in bed all day long and just being sad, and they can't get out of their depression. And they have a serious issue with their own sons and daughters that are maybe suicidal or very depressed or have gotten hurt, and they can't be the parent that they want to be because they're in their own depression. Those are the things that we want to talk about. We want to talk about growth and healing and how awesome your sons and daughters are going to do when they are in the military, but also how we can grow as our own self, as a woman. Who was I before I was a mother? Who was I while I was a mother to little kids, to teenagers, and now to adults and adults in the military? And we have so much growth that we're going to be able to do together as a community and talk about these things without disguising them with silly words like pew pew or, different things like that. We're going to use real grown-up words because we're real grown-ups.
One thing as somebody who spent time active duty that I'm excited about the mission of this podcast is we get to get down to the nitty gritty. It's not always sunshine and rainbows. It's not always this beautiful dream that's somewhere far over the rainbow that we heard the Wizard of Oz sing about. It's not always like that. There's hard times. There's times where you're not really sure you made the right decision. There's times where you really just second guess everything and you're not happy. And that's okay. It's good to hear it firsthand, uncut and raw, rather than have to say childish words like pew pew, have to say childish words like unalived. It's true things that happen every day. And we have all had people that have gone through these things, whether it's our children, whether it's somebody we're related to, whether it's somebody that we're friends with. We've all lost people. We've all dealt with hard times. We've all dealt with something, whether it's in the Marine Corps, in the Army, in the Navy, in the Space Force, whatever you do, the Air Force, or as a civilian. Everybody goes through these hard things. And one thing I've noticed about the work that this group is able to do and the people that Laurie and Sherry have both touched is you're not just touching military parents too. I've seen civilian people just involved in these conversations because it truly brings light to so many things. And that's one thing I'm so excited with this podcast is you get to be able to see not there's a dream somewhere. I have a dream. Fantastic. It's not always a dream. Nightmares are dreams too, unfortunately. And that's one thing we all have to face in the adult world. And we get to bring that to light. We get to talk about it because there's no other platform that talks about these things. Truly, there's no other way for you to get the nitty gritty and understand it firsthand from people who are dealing with it firsthand. So this is a thing that brings so much to individuals that get to be involved and are handling it day by day, firsthand basis. many parents coming to Laurie, many parents coming to Sherry, parents in my inboxes of things we can't truly talk about on TikTok, but we can share here safely and be able to address those things and be able to help all walks of life, no matter what it is.
I want to say that, your kids are going to have trials and tribulations that, like it's like any other job. There's days, I'm a teacher. There's days that I love my job, and there's days that I'm like second guessing. What did I do? Why did I pick this profession? I mean, that's one thing. As parents, we can't go to their job and say, oh, well, so-and-so is having a bad day. Let's, coddle them. You don't do that in your regular child's, civilian's life. You don't do it in the military. And so, yes, you want to be involved, but when your child's in the military, it's a different way of being involved.
Absolutely. And I just want to put out there too, we have quite the lineup. We have people from sergeant majors all the way down to kids coming out of boot camp that are going to be on this podcast at different episodes, talking about their experience, talking about how they feel, why they decided to join. And we're talking about across the board, all the different branches, not just the Marines. We have a sergeant major from the Army that's going to be joining us. We have a captain from the Navy that's going to be joining us. We have a sergeant major from the Marines that are going to be joining us. And we have a recruit that's in boot camp that's going to be joining us. And so we have somebody from all avenues that are going to join us. We have mental health counselors that are going to start joining us. So we're going to have an array of topics that we're going to talk about. And it really is going to be enlightening for all of us. We're all going to learn from these, and I'm really excited to see where this is going to go.
We're also going to have siblings on here talking about their feelings. We'll try to get husbands and, fathers on here to talk about how they feel when they see their children in the military.
Okay, so if you want to ask us to be a guest, if you want to ask questions for us to specifically talk about a topic, you can email us at camoandcrayons@gmail.com.
Following what Laurie said, it's going to be CAMOANDCRAYONS@gmail.com. And what you'll be able to do is all of our links are going to be provided in this description of this podcast episode. So if you want to email us, follow us, anything along those lines, everything you need is down in the description.
And we will also be using some of our things that we have helped people with. We will be changing their names. We will change their MOSs and things like that. But we just want to let you know the things that we do to help people and the people that we have come in to help us help them.
Another topic I'm super excited to be able to talk about because it's not something you widely find. I mean, you can find wave tops of it. You can you learn about it when you're getting ready to get out through going through the courses that they provide for you. But one thing that I'm excited to be able to talk about is what it is like transitioning from the active duty lifestyle, the everyday, the meetings, the briefs, the classes, the workload, everything like that to civilian life. You're a veteran now. You're not in your uniform. You're not showing up to work every day. You don't have your Outlook blowing up every 5 seconds with calendar invites and things like that. Because it truly is a transition. As much as you think you're prepared for it, I thought I was not. It's not a easy transition. Yes, it's exciting. It's a whole new world out there, as my girl Ariel once said. But it truly is like this whole thing of completely different reality. Is I went from an active duty staff sergeant who was an ammunition chief, ammunition staff into OIC, because my OIC wasn't there, and I was also a URC. It's a unit readiness coordinator, helping families and spouses and active duty members with their resources and things along those lines. I'm a wife and a mom, and I was a wife and a mom while doing all of those things, but now I'm just a wife and a mom. It's a different type of chaos, but at the same time, it's not the chaos I grew to love over my time within the Marine Corps. It's scary stepping out of one zone into another. It's not peaceful. You have a lot of inner turmoil about it, but at the same time, it's a beautiful new world with all of these opportunities that you can have and all of these opportunities you can reach for. And I find myself talking to other veterans and they have no idea half of the opportunities that they can join, they can go for. They have no idea the job opportunities. They have no idea the classes they can go through. Half of them don't even know how much of their VA they should have been claiming. So it's like, it's this whole realm of things that isn't widely talked about. And I'm excited for this podcast to also be able to help those who are retiring or medically separating. I got medically separated. That's a process within itself I'm excited to talk about because nobody knows which way is up when you're in the medical process. So for us to be able to bring firsthand experiences to light and be able to talk about it, because the thing about the military is everybody has their own answer, but which one's the right answer? Which one's the one that is actually correct? Which one is the one that somebody didn't get from ChatGPT? Which one did they not Google? Which one did they actually read from the order, black and white, that says exactly what you're supposed to be doing? And that's one thing about us that we're going to do for you. Laurie will text me, hey, need this question answered for this veteran, for this active duty Marine, for this recruit. And the thing I'm going to do for you is I'm going to go pull the order. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to read it black and white. And that's the answer you're getting. It's not from the back of my head. I remember when I was a Lance Corporal, this is what I gave you. It's not from, oh, my corporal once told me that I can't go to the chow hall in this outfit. Like, no. You are for sure getting the answers. I've worked with the Army. I've worked with the Navy. I've worked with the Air Force. I've done MEU workups with all of them. Sherry will text me, I have an Army mom asking this question. I don't care that I was a Marine. You're wearing a uniform, I'm going to find you the correct answer, not based off of what's off the top of my head or what I can Google. I'm going to find you in black and white, copy it, screenshot it, send it. That's what you're getting. And that's the beauty of this podcast, is there's no question mark behind it. You don't leave wondering if you got the right answer. You don't leave wondering with open-ended questions or open-ended answers. You're getting the black and white, you're getting the straightforward, and you're getting all of the above. And that's one thing as a transitioning from active duty to veteran, I wish I had. So that's what I'm excited to be able to provide for everybody here.
And that's one thing about us is we're not going to, Google an answer or chat GPT an answer. We're going to go to the source and we're going to get the correct answer. We're not going to, blow something up your butt telling you the wrong thing. We're going to get the source.
Yeah.
And the
That's
correct
why,
source.
when I do question and answer Sundays, Saturday and Sundays, I always say, if I don't have the answer, I will get it for you. I have been able to make friends with so many people in so many positions in all of the branches that we do have a lot of people, to answer questions from the highest up all the way down to, we have a recruit that comes into or he's not even a recruit anymore, he's a Marine. He comes into our lives right now and answers questions about ITV. Because here's the thing, right? Annika went through boot camp 10 years ago. That kid didn't just went through it 3 months ago, and things change. So we're going to get those answers for you. It doesn't change a lot. It changes a little bit, but we're going to get those correct answers for you because it's important to you. Because I know for me, when my son left to go to boot camp, I was completely lost. I didn't have any of these answers. And everything that I've learned, I've had to learn on my own through experience, through asking questions. There's some people out there. There's a staff sergeant. He was a recruiter when I first started doing this. That guy must have been so sick of me because I asked him so many questions, and he always be like, "No, Laurie, it's okay." But I would ask him so many questions. You think I asked you a lot of questions, Annika? That poor guy, he was like every day, all day long, And then we have a Marine wife, Meg, who I asked a ton. I was asking her a ton of questions. I felt like I owed her a babysitter and a night out. I asked her so many questions, but that's how you learn is asking questions. And then I was able to relay it to you guys. And so that's what I'm excited about this, like walking you through boot camp, walking you through SOI, walking you through, what is it, AIT for the Army, walking you through,
AIT.
I have a sailor that I became really good friends with his whole family, and walking you through all of that stuff, his battle stations, everything that he went through to become a sailor. It's just amazing what you can learn when you let the right people in. And this is what this is all about, is letting the right people in and then sharing our knowledge, because what good does it do any of us if we keep it to ourselves,
My son, when I was just with him on vacation, he was like, how do you know an E9? How do you know this? How do you know this person? Oh my God, like, Mom, do you understand like how high ranking they are? Like, I'm just a little peon and, this guy is going to mentor me and want to help me. He was like, he was overwhelmed with the people I know and who I've become friends with.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. I mean, especially at that stage in your career, like speaking as somebody who was there at one point, is like, I remember at one point when a Master Guns would walk in and it's like, oh, Darth Vader's here. Like, what do we do? Oh my God, I'm scared. But then at the same time, like now, Staff Sergeant Lyon and Warrant Officer so-and-so's wife, Annika, is like, our friend Adam comes in as a Master Guns. And I'm like, we shoot the crap back and forth. I've never talked as much crap to a Master Guns in my life. But here we are, and the man dishes it out to me more than I dish it to him. So he gets what he asked for. But at the same time, I know. But at the same time, like there's a sergeant major who would literally call my phone in my office, and I would say, "Staff Sergeant Lyon, H&S Battalion, how may I help you?" And then he would giggle and then hang up on me. Like they're people too is a fun thing to remember. It's like their ranks are massive and they've done so much to earn what's on their collar. Everybody has. I don't care if you're a Lance Corporal. You did crap to earn what's on your freaking collar. But at the same time, they're people too. They want to have fun. They like to enjoy it. The entire point of the military is the brotherhood that comes with it. Yes, I am a girl. I call it the brotherhood because we're bros. But like, this is what it comes with. It's a fantastic time. And once you learn that and you get through that, it's smooth sailing and it's a great time. But the problem is not everybody talks about that. So that's the beauty of what we're bringing to the table of, guess what? If I am shooting the crap with the sergeant major, that's okay because they're shooting it with me. But also there's a respect line there. And that's the thing that people don't realize is like, you have to understand that there is the line, but not many people teach that line. Not many people know what line, there isn't a line you're supposed to be crossing. Like not everybody knows those things. So the beauty of what we're having and bringing to the table for all of you is you get to hear it all. It doesn't matter from one end of the spectrum to the next. You hear it all and you hear it unfiltered. You hear it from it's not word of mouth. It's straight from the mouth. And that's the beautiful thing about what we're doing here.
I mean, it's amazing to see these guys. Like I've got to be friends with, like an E9 and, a sergeant and some other, active duty people and some veterans. And it's just amazing for them to see how they want to take these kids under their wing and show them. But these kids don't understand, like, oh my God, because they're drilled into them that you don't talk to higher ranks, but there is good leadership out there that want to take these guys under their wings and show them that, just because what's on my collar doesn't mean that you can't talk to me. Like, I want to mentor you. I want to make you a better person. And it's amazing. I've been watching it and it's fun going into their lives and they're like, hey, Army Sherry, or hey, Laurie. I mean, it's great that, and they inbox us and say, we love what you're doing because our parents didn't have this.
Yeah. I have a young man that his dad passed away very unexpectedly on Friday evening, and he's down and out, and rightfully so. He was at MCT and he didn't get his goodbyes or anything like that. And so I reached out to Adam, who is a Master Gunnery Sergeant, and I said, I need you, because this young man called me at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, just devastated. And that's one of the things that I do. I know not everybody does that, but I do allow these kids to call me at any time of the night, because sometimes if they can't get a hold of their parents, they need an adult. And I rather them talk to me than somebody at a bar or something else, right? So I let them call me. So he called me. So I actually reached out to Adam and I was like, Adam, I need you to help this kid. And he picked up the reins and he is helping this kid. And then this young man, and I don't want to use his name to protect his identity, but he called me later and he was like, Miss Laurie, I can't believe a Master Gunnery Sergeant just called me, not text me. He called me. And I'm like, but this is why Adam doesn't come on with his rank on his stuff, is because he wants these kids to feel comfortable, and he's going to join us too at some point and talk about that kind of stuff. But that is a huge thing, is making these kids feel comfortable going to these people. And honestly, I feel in my heart, I don't know if it's true, but I just feel in my heart and my gut that if we can help them feel comfortable going to these people now, that maybe down the road, when it does get really bad, they'll be like, oh, I could go talk to Adam. Oh, I can go talk to, this person, and it's not going to be terrible. And then I'm going to avoid getting into a depression and then everything else that sucks that comes with that, the suicide and all of the self-harm and the things like that. And that is the goal behind all of this, to make everybody feel comfortable. Parents, the recruit, the new soldier, the new Marine, the new airman, everybody, and just be able to be one big community that can help each other.
I wanted to piggyback off that. I want these kids to see these men out there, men and women out there, the upper ranks, showing them their leadership. And I hope that they take a piece when they become a leader of like, oh, I liked what Behind the Curtain said. Oh, I like how this one said this. I want them to take every bit of piece of one of them and become a better leader than they are. Like the leadership. That's one of the biggest complaints I see and hear across all branches is you got good leadership and then you have shitty leadership. And like I heard Behind the Curtains, he was talking about, if I can make one kid come in and see my live and take something from what I am saying, then I've done my job. And that's one thing I told Piper, like, just go into his live. You don't have to say my name is or anything like that. I want him to listen. So when he becomes that rank, he's a better person.
And one thing with just me coming into the lives initially, and what has been part of my motivation behind continuing to answer the questions, I purposefully leave the rank at the door. It's something I wore on my collar. To me, my rank, whatever was stacked on my collar, was how much experience I can give you. It's not, yes, I earned it. Yes, I'm happy to be here. Yes, I'm so proud of myself. But at the same time, what's stacked on my collar, that weight is the knowledge that I can provide to you. That weight is the knowledge that I can share. That weight is me being able to give you my experiences so you know what to do and what not to do moving forward. Like, we've all made choices as leaders. We've all done these things. As a staff sergeant, did I have it all together? No, who does though? It's everybody's first time living too. So within the Marine Corps, myself, is the rank that I have on my collar is purely just for me I liked what Sherry said earlier, because it's a big part of my leadership mantra is I'm here to help you mold into the person you're supposed to be, because there is a life after the military. The military is not forever. It is not your forever piece. There's a end of contract for everyone. Some, unfortunately myself, comes way sooner than you're expecting it. And so for you to be able to take the experiences you learn and you hear and you actively participate in and push forward to help mold the future generations of either the military, or even when it may be the future generation of the military, but you're also molding this future generation of the civilian world. These kids are going to go out in the civilian world and be active participants someday. Two different worlds, very different, learning that currently. I am learning, I am speaking, I am living embodiment of learning what that means. And to be able to instill things within these kids and have them to be able to you don't have to take everything from my leadership position. I understand. I didn't take everything from my leadership. You take the pieces that you think is good, you leave the pieces that are bad, and you mold yourself into what you want to be. Good or bad, it's your choice. But at the same time, what we can provide here is pieces from leaders that are there, because you talk about Adam, you talk about me, Behind the Curtains, Staff Sergeant Butters, all of them are leaders that are going to show you the way to not only be a good active duty service member, but being a good freaking person. And that's the best part about what we do, is you're learning adult everyday things that are going to translate. And that's one thing that you don't get while you're active duty too.
Yeah, I totally agree. Learning how to be a good leader is a big thing. And, one thing, like, I was talking to Sergeant Butters a couple of weeks ago about this podcast and things like that. And then, we were talking about Philip's experience going into an Army recruiting station. And he was like, it was like, holy crap, I just learned something by having a conversation. So you can learn stuff even when you're the leader. Being able to be coachable and learn things also is a big deal, and showing other people that you can do that, And that's what I want for this whole podcast, is to show, not only on the military side, but also on the parent side, how we're all learning and we're all growing, because it's not easy as a parent either to watch your children go off. And, some of us have a hard cutoff. Some of us have to struggle through phone calls every couple weeks. And it's hard, but it's not the end of the world. It's we're all going to learn from each other, and the leadership around the whole circle is what is important.
And like I've said to Piper, and I've even said it to you and Annika, like, I love seeing what I couldn't give Piper. I love that the military's giving him something that we could have never done. He's been to how many, states already? He's going to be going to overseas soon. I mean, we couldn't have done that as, parents, and as a regular job, he wouldn't have been able to do that. So I love what the military is doing for him, and I love what they have installed in him, and like behavior wise and motivational wise. Yes, does the suck? Yes, he'll tell you that, but he says you have to learn to overcome that, because it's in any job.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the truth. It is in any job, no matter what you're doing in life. But as a parent, I can tell you, I saw a kid that just turned 18 years old, left for boot camp and came back. He was still himself, but a totally different person. He matured at a rapid rate versus his peers here at home. And still, like, I see people that he went to school with, and I see stories on Facebook, and I think, my gosh, he doesn't do any of that stuff, because if he does, it could be jeopardize his career. And that's a big thing I want to get across when we're doing this too, is that our kids leave to go to boot camp, just like my daughters left to go to college, right? And when they graduated college, they had a career. When Philip or anybody that goes to boot camp graduates boot camp, now they have a career. Our kids aren't on a vacation. They are starting their career at 17, 18, 19, 20 years old. And it's a big deal. And
Yeah.
it's important, and we're blessed as parents to sit back and watch that.
One stigma I want to fully cross with in this podcast is, like, I've seen parents within the lives comment, like, it's not a real job. My friend, I promise you it is. Like, I've dealt with it in my own life, of people that are, I almost said over me, like they're my leadership. People in my own life that are blood relatives, of just treating it as if I'm at summer camp, like just treating it as if I'm doing an in-between until I find what I'm really doing in life. I promise you, someone in whatever higher power was like, this girl's gonna be a Marine, this is what she was supposed to do, whether that was cut short or not, I don't care. I truly felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be, and I was exactly where I wanted to be, and it was the career that I made it because it was a career. And that's one thing I am so excited to be able to talk about whenever we do our further episodes, of what my career was like, what other people's careers were like, hearing it, because you truly do, someone listening will understand that it is a career, it is a job, it is everything and more that you are doing on the outside. It's just, unfortunately, we have a lot of paperwork and a lot of different uniforms we have to wear that goes with it. It's different, but at the same time, it is the same.
And that's the other thing I want to touch on too, is like, if they go in as their MOS, then, and they don't like it, and when their contract is done and they want to re-enlist, they can change their job. It's just like us out in the civilian world. If I don't want to be a teacher, I can change my job to do something else. They can do that in the military too. They just have to go to reclass at school and stuff like that, and then they go back in and they do their job what they are. So, I mean, people have to understand the military isn't all as bad as people perceive it is. They have a lot of opportunities, college, traveling, different career paths. I know, like, if Piper stays in where he was or is, he said if he retired at 18, he would want to go on the civilian side of programming the tanks and stuff like that. So, I mean, there's so many opportunities that they can do.
Yeah.
I heard someone say it the other day on a live I was involved with. and they said, I didn't go to jail and I'm not at summer camp. I'm working. So, like, that's the best way I can put it.
Yeah, and I've changed some of my narrative in a few of my videos the last couple weeks because we've had a lot of issues with parents going, it's devastating. He left to go to boot camp, and when am I going to talk to him? And when do I get to do this? And I don't like how this is going. I want to talk to them. I mean, I seriously had a parent over in San Diego show up because she was going to sign her kid out of boot camp. You can't do those kind of things. That's not a reality. When she told me that, I was like, honey, you can't sign your kid out of boot camp. I don't really know what to tell you. He signed a contract. A contract is a legal binding, piece of paper. He's there. And, that's, I think, a thing that, that's why I have started in some of my videos, if you've seen it, I talk about my two daughters going to college and then starting their career. And then I'll say, and Philip went to boot camp and started his career because I'm trying to have people see that, Philip didn't go to boot camp and sit on the circle rug and wait for me to check him out because he had a tummy ache that day. Do you know what I'm saying? And so that's, I think people need to understand that these kids aren't going to summer camp. They aren't in kindergarten sitting on the circle rug with their legs crisscross applesauce. They are actually learning how to do their job. They are in their 90-day period like you would if you started another job, So it's important to have these discussions because I know it's hard for these parents to understand sometimes, especially if they don't have anybody that's ever been in the military. I was lucky. I had, my brother and my best friend were in the Air Force. My cousin was in the Navy. So I understood how it worked. It was way different sending my kid because I'll tell you, I was like, my brother went, my best friend went, and then my son went, and it was totally different. But I still understood the concept of, this is serious. This is a legal binding contract that he signed, or I had to sign. He was 17. His dad and I signed. Worst permission slip ever, but we signed it, right? I felt like I was signing the worst permission slip to go on a trip with school.
Going on a field trip.
But it's a serious job, and you can't just go sign your kid out. You can't just call the senior drill instructor and say, I don't, my kid said that he didn't feel like he was being appreciated, because we've had those too. And I'm sure, Annika, you being a wife of somebody that was a drill instructor already, you've got the stories too, right? But I mean, I'm telling you, it's a serious job. It is a career. And even though they're 17, 18, 19, it is still their career. Yes, their boot camp was their college and it was short, but they're still learning while they're there. So it's a serious thing. And that's something that I really want to get across to parents while we're doing this too, is that, and it doesn't have to be sad. It does not have to be sad, Now is our opportunity as parents to live our life, to figure out who we are. What do we want to do? Do we want to travel? Do we want to, learn how to throw pottery? Do we want to open up one of those rage rooms where you beat the shit out of everything in there and be the owner of it, because sometimes I do, I mean, but seriously, like, what is it that makes you want to be you after your kids have grown up,
Oh, that's such a good line. Sorry, I just had to nerd. That was so good.
It's true though. What is it? Who do you want to be when your kids grow up? I'm still always going to be their mom. They're always going to need me. My daughter calls me all the time to watch her damn cats. She always needs me for something, right? Philip calls me in the middle of the night for the password for Peacock. He always needs me for something, but he's not a child. He's not a baby. He doesn't need me 24 hours a day. And listen, you can ask anybody in my family. We up and left. I was 21 years old. We up and left. We moved to New York, and we haven't been back in my home state ever since. And I don't regret it one bit. And I want that same thing for my kids. Whatever works for them, I want them to live their life. My brother was another one. He up and left, and then he never came back either. And I don't think he regrets it either. You have to form a life for yourself. And I did it. Why would I not want my kids to do it?
I want to piggyback off that because, like, growing up, that you lose your identity because you're Piper's mom or you're Brennan's mom. It's my time to take back who I am, and I'm Sherry. And so, like, that's one thing that I want parents to understand too, is like, this doesn't have to be a sad situation. No. you can live, I don't want to say vicarious through them, but like I love seeing the men that they have become. I love seeing them travel. I love him, you know, both of my boys are going into some kind of a, like Piper's in the military, Brennan's going to DNR. And I just love sitting here watching these two young boys become the men that they are. And now I'm not considered Brennan's mom. I'm not considered Piper's mom. I'm Sherry.
Yeah.
And I'm taking my life back.
Absolutely. I did my job. I raised my kids, and I raised damn good kids too. And I'm proud of it, right? I raised damn good kids. I'm proud of it. And here's what I tell parents all the time too. Remember when our kids were little and you would take them to the playground and you'd meet parents, or you'd take them to a function at school and you'd meet parents that they go to school with. And then they kind of grew up, right? And that was your kind of your group, right? I met a lot of parents through baseball. And now my kids in the Marines, and my friends, my civilian friends, they don't have to understand how I feel or what I'm going through. So my son's playground just went from our little town here in Florida to the whole damn world with military parents, not just one branch, but military parents all around the world, right? And I actually have a lady that I talk to. Her son is in the Navy in the UK, and we talk all the time. Even though our kids are in different countries for different things, we just talk about how it is not, having a kid that's off in the military and empty nesting, But your playground just became the whole world. Reach out to other parents that know what you're going through. You don't have to sit in your little room all day long and be sad. You take back your life, right? Who is Sherry? Who is Laurie? Who is Annika when her son grows up? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I agree. Okay, friends, listeners, one thing we want to be able to do every episode for you guys is the email we provided earlier. It's also in our description box. We want you guys to be able to participate in our episodes. So one thing we want you guys to do is send us a brief bio of your service member, family member, son, daughter, uncle, anybody that has provided service for our country, and email us a brief bio of them, and we're going to pick one person a week to be able to highlight a military family member. So we're going to call it our Military Family Spotlight, and we're going to shine some light on your service member and praise them for what they did and talk about them a little bit and bring what they did to the world. So utilize that email down in the description box. Send us your loved one, and I look forward to talking about them on our next episode.
Okay, so that's the end of our first episode. I hope you guys really enjoyed our conversations and everything that we had to share for you. Down in the description, we'll have our show notes, everything that we talk about, our social medias, our any kind of information. If we're quoting somebody or putting in some solid information in there for you, we will have those in the show notes and in the description for you. Don't forget to follow us and subscribe and share out to your friends and family and to military personnel too. And then let's just grow this community together. You guys have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
See you next time.
Bye. Listen up, maggots. You have one mission and one mission only. Hit that like button right now, and you will subscribe to Camo and Crayons. That is a direct order, Private. No excuses, no hesitation. Move it, move it, move it. Subscribe now or drop and give me 20. Camo and Crayons, fall in! Hooah! Camo and Crayons was recorded and produced by SWA Creative Media.